Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. As we continue to talk about Benavidez and Plant, I found out that there will be VADA testing. And I think that's a good thing. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Plant nor Benavidez has ever tested positive for any... They never had any issues with drug testing. I put it to you that way. Now, I'll tell you this. Not all fighters, Plant and Benavidez, are enrolled year-round and in these programs either. But neither one has ever tested positive for anything. So I'd like to think that they're clean fighters. But at the same time, I'll always say, when you have athletes that are performing at the highest level, I just don't understand why they'd want to attach themselves to individuals who have questionable past. Okay, there was an interview done with Jesse Vargas, where Jesse Vargas was talking about bringing on Angel Heredia, and Jesse Vargas said some stuff in the video that it was more along the lines of he walks. Now I'm paraphrasing, right? He basically said he moves differently from Heredia, so he chose not to work with him. He wouldn't expound, but all he said is there may be other people who basically can get along with Heredia, who can move with Heredia a little bit better than how he could, and as a result, he chose to not deal with him. Now, people looked into that, and they drew their own conclusions based on what he didn't say. But what I'll tell you is this. I just really want the winner of Plant and Benavidez to get the credit that they deserve if they get the win. But when you see a guy like Victor Conte, right, who comes out, and this is something he posted about a month ago, where he says, time for boxing to get woke. Even the most stringent at VADA testing can be circumvented by smart cheaters. Be aware, Mimo, at Guru Science, Heredia is in camp with at Benavidez 300 versus Sweet Hands Plant on March 25th. Substances like IGF-1, LR3 are powerful and undetectable. Now, when you see somebody post something like that, see, this is why a guy like me is like, what are we talking about here? And what's going on with these athletes? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be honest with you. It makes me wonder what exactly, why would somebody say 80 to 90% of athletes are taking peds? And I just don't get it. And for a guy like Conte to come out and pull something like this, again, there's no evidence of any foul play. But when he posts something like this, it makes a guy like me who wants to ease up on these issues and questions and to hold my ground and say, you know what, maybe we should be talking more about this because, and I'm not talking about specifically the Plant and Benavidez, I'm just talking about the boxing as a whole, other sports too, but I'm about boxing. To find out, what are these substances that guys are taking? Like, what is it that it does? Is it a matter of like an IGF-1 and LR3, right? A couple key takeaways on those is it can help with building muscle, losing fat. It helps to lower inflammation, nutrient partitioning. But the thing is, right, it works in a close relation to natural growth hormone production. So, it just makes you wonder why Conte would even throw this out there. But what I will tell you, like, there was a question asked, how does IGF-1 and LR3 work? And in this article, it says normal IGF-1 will bind to the IGF receptors and the insulin in the body and cause a biological change wherever it is bound. Right? IGF-1 LR3 will regulate hypertrophy and muscle growth via, and then this long list of numbers and letters, which isn't going to make sense to the majority of you. It says because LR3 has greater metabolic stability compared to the regular stuff, it seems to be far more effective at the mechanisms it involves. While IGF-1 will virtually act on all of the body's cells, looking at what it can do in muscle cells, it will boost protein synthesis. It might act as a glucose uptake aid and will also lead to a positive nitrogen balance. All of these form part of the perfect muscle building environment, and thus IGF-1 LR3 can help when this is combined with training, diet, and the correct polypharmacology. Another thing to consider is the fact that it could play a role in downregulation of glucocorticoids. This will not only massively reduce inflammation, but thereby also boost recovery tremendously. Benefits of IGF-1 LR3: increase in muscle mass, muscle development of injured muscle cells, can help break down adipose tissue, which is fat, potentially, can help slow aging, acts like a glucose disposal agent, can form part of glucocorticoid therapy, can alleviate joint pain, improves overall athletic performance. There are some side effects: muscle and joint pain, injection site pain. Now, when you hear me talk about the cocktails, a lot of times I'm talking about different drinks that different strength and conditioning coach can make for the guys to help getting the electrolytes back into the system, the right vitamins and stuff like that. But there's the other side to things, which, again, as far as what's going on with plant Benavidez and today, there's no proof of Heredia or Conte doing anything crazy anymore. We know in the past they have a past, and that's the past. But there are instances where they talk about cocktails, different from giving these guys something that's a healthy a drink, which they can take to just get those nutrients and vitamins back in the system. And there's even something called mocktails, which is different drinks they can take just without alcohol, like Bloody Marys and Virgin Daiquiris. But when we talk about cocktails, where as far as using PEDs, that's where more than one of the substances are taken at a time. So, especially if it has to be administered by injection. So instead of taking if you have 3 different substances and there's 3 different injections, it's more of a chance of that being detected when they see these marks on your body. So instead of doing that, they'll combine all 3 in a syringe and inject one time, but that can be dangerous. So again, what I'm telling you is, just knowing that these conversations are floating around, right? It really bothers me because I know the work it takes. I know the work it takes for these guys to get their cells in shape, to get in the ring, to fight. But, I'm very concerned just with the different conversations that are going on surrounding the Plant and Benavidez fight, because I don't know how often this happened. But, what I do know for a fact, for me, this is the first time that I'm aware that you have 2 fighters going into a high-profile bout where you have basically Conte on one side and Heredia on the other side. Now, I have no reason to believe there's any foul play, but at the same time, you can understand why. There are conversations taking place and concerns, about them being in these guys' training camps. And there will always be suspicion. It's just like having a guy who was out here and he's on a listing as far as someone who's what's that called, like the child, I forgot what it's called, like when someone out here has some kind of illegal dealings with a child, or an underage child. You have somebody who goes out here and dating a girl and she lies and says she's 21, find out she's 17. He's on that damn, I forgot what it's called. It's a listing they put him on. But anyway, for the next so many years, any neighborhood he moves into, he got to sign up on this damn list. And you can look it up and see his name and see the house he lives in. But when you get the whole story, you could almost understand how he ended up in that position. Or even a woman dating a guy. She's 22, 23. He says he's 21, 22. Found out he's 16, 17. And she would have never known because they lie. But what I'm getting at is you could understand why, without people knowing the whole story, where they would just be a little suspicious about a guy or female like that moving into the neighborhood knowing there are kids there. And the same thing with Heredia and Benavidez. Yeah, something happened in the past, but as of today, I have no reason to believe there's foul play. But for the conversation to come up, it's fair and it's to be expected. But when you see Conte putting stuff like this out, it's like, what the hell is going on? Why would he say that? And that's why I say these guys know what you can get away with, what you can't get away with. That when you have a guy like Usman Sajjad come out and talk about these things, he knows what you can and can't do. And he says, people would be stupid, have to be an idiot to get caught. That's scary. So any fighter who's getting in the ring, and I know this whole VADA process, VADA protocol is extremely, extremely costly. But something that has to be sorted out. First is the cost to make sure everybody can enroll in it, right? If we really want to protect fighters. I understand everything. If you do something good, you should get paid for it. So costs should be sorted out. But then the second thing is, why is it what Conte says you got these substances like IGF-1 and LR3 that are powerful but undetectable? That means somebody needs to step up their game, VADA or whoever, these agencies responsible for trying to ensure the detection of these different substances that could give an opponent an unfair advantage, an illegal unfair advantage. To me, there needs to be more done. But that being said, when we're talking about Plant, we're talking about Benavidez, I want to say that good job that they're enrolled in VADA. And I really hope that there's no fallout once the fight's over, depending on who ends up winning, and we don't get any reports on failed tests from either side, because I just think with these guys and the type of fight they're going into, that's just gonna really hurt them, hurt their career, and it's gonna hurt boxing. But there's a reason why you get these strength and conditioning coaches and different people who are involved in the sport who know firsthand what's going on, who say, almost everybody does it in some shape or form. They do something, whether it's a diuretic, something for stamina, something for power, or they do end up in a situation kind of like a Jarrell Miller, where there's just, a lot of hard stuff that was being taken. It's my understanding. But that being said, can't wait to see the fight. But this just got my attention when I saw this, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because I was looking for information to see if there was VADA testing. Because I'm going to tell you what, man, we can talk. We can say, hey, we're having conversation, but I really want for whoever wins this fight to get all the credit they deserve. But I guess we'll see what happens, right? That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I'm in the breeze.